Hello, and welcome back to the Jackson Hearth. Today, I would like to talk about the two types of methods that we discussed in our previous um, video when we did Introduction to Decluttering. So, if you'll give me a second, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. So, as we see here, we're going to talk about decluttering, the two types of decluttering methods. The first type, if we remember from last time, it was the Con KonMari method. Now, this approach to decluttering and organizing, now it was created by the Japanese organizing consultant Marie Kondo. So this method is named after her. Um, Now, and this became really popular. Um, I guess in Japan, I've never read her book, but it is very popular from what I understand in Japan. And it came from her best-selling book. And the book is titled The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Again, I've never read it or never seen it, but it would be something if you want to look into it. It seems like a really great book. Um, Now, when we look at the key principles, sorry, to the KonMari method, we see step one is commit yourself to tidying up. That's the first thing we're going to talk about is now this should not be something that you're forced to do or you feel forced to do. This should be a treat. This should be something that's a special event. This should be something that you enjoy doing. It shouldn't feel like a chore. It shouldn't feel like a task. It shouldn't feel like, your everyday cleaning. The second one is imagine your ideal lifestyle. Now, this one you had to kind of sit down, think about, maybe journal, write down, figure out what you want your life and home to look like. Now, and this is going to be after you finish with the decluttering. This is going to be after you finished with the, spark of joy. Remember that? The spark of joy. So if you pick up something that you're moving and it really doesn't feel great, I don't like to go on feelings, but if you pick up something, you may say I haven't seen it in a couple of weeks, could have or a couple of years, we could pass it. Now, so this you should really in this step sit down, write, think about, picture how you want your house to look, how you want it to feel. Now, this is going to really help you in your decision making. It's really going to help you be able to set the pace and things of that nature. Now, tidying by category and not location. This to me was different. I've done both by location and by category. But when we look at tidying by category rather than location, well, what you do, for example, it's rather what you're doing is you're tidying from room to room, and it is better to gather everything in that one category across the house. So basically, okay, so say you're tidying your books. What you're going to do is you're going to go from room to room to room and get all the books and put those up. Next, you're doing clothes. You're tidying clothes. You're getting rid of clothes. You're decluttering your clothes. Well, you're going to go from room to room to room. So you're going to do it by category. And I think that for me, it was good. It was nice. It kind of had an organization to it. So it was very interesting. I did like that, but I've also done um by location and location. Now, let's follow. Now, this is she talks about following the right order. Now, you're going to want to start this with the easiest things to get those out of the way to work yourself to the harder categories. Now, let's look. Now, this will help you to hone in the joy sparking. So what we're doing is we're going to get that spark. We want that spark to come in. We want that feeling of joy when you've touched something. So, okay, so First thing we're going to do is clothes. Those are the easiest. Clothes. Either you can wear them, you can't wear them, you haven't seen them in 2 years, or you wear it daily. This is going to be really something easy to do. Um, but I will talk about a scenario where it may not be easy. But clothing is going to be really easy. Again, you're going to go from room, you're going to get your clothes, room to room to room, to all you have all your clothes in one room. Then you're going to go through. Then you're going to feel that spark. You're going to see what's sparking that joy that you have. Like for me, I have a couple of things in my clothing that sparks joy. One are my polos. I love my polo shirts. They spark joy out. They make me feel good. So I would want to keep the polos. But maybe I have a button-down shirt that doesn't spark joy. I would discard that. Either donate it, sell it, or give it away, something like that. Next, we're going to look at books. Books can be a little difficult because for me, I get rid of books all the time. I don't like to, but I do, because sometimes my interest changes. So I think that as long as the book, again, we'll talk about sometimes when it might not be. So, but books are one of those things that, again, you're going to go room to room to room, and books are going to be one of those things that are going to be fairly easy. Because you can pick up a book and say, "Oh, I love this book. I want to keep it." Okay. You can say, "Oh, I didn't really like this book." So you're gonna really be able to understand and to know what book. Maybe it's a magazine. Maybe it's something that you've done yourself. Maybe it's like I do Bible studies, so I put those in binders, or I do um homesteading. I have four homesteading binders that I do. So you obviously want to keep those things, and that would be in your books. And obviously, those things are going to bring you joy, or you wouldn't have started them in the first place. Now, our next things are papers. Now, this is where things get complicated because it can be hard. If you have kids, do you want to keep all of their art, something they've made for you? Maybe it's a newspaper clipping. So these can be really difficult. You may have to really think about it before. And you may say, well, I don't really want to keep the paper, but you take a picture of it. That is something that you can organize. The next one is kimono. Now, kimono obviously is a Japanese word. Um, Now, these are things like whatnots that you have sitting around the house. Maybe it's a candle. Maybe it's something that your grandmother gave you. And that could go into sentimentals because I think these two could actually go hand in hand. Um, because sentimental things are going to be the hardest in my picture because these are things that have feelings. These are things that are already going to spark something in you. But then the question is, well, does it fit into my goals? Does it fit into my picture that I had? Does it fit into the image of what I want my house to look like or how I want it to feel? Same thing, this could go with clothing. Maybe you have something of your grandmother's or your grandfather's, or maybe a late mom's, or maybe something that's very sentimental to you. The outfit you brought your child home in, the blanket you brought your child home in. These are things that are going to be sentimental and very hard to really go through. And so I always say leave this to last. But again, sentimental items can be hard. And for example, some things that I did for sentimental items is I just took pictures of them. They're on my phone. I have them. I may print some out to have physical copies. But I just took pictures of things I needed to get rid of from my late grandmother, or my late grandfather. And for example, I can give you an example. I gave my nephew, he's 4 months old. I gave him two of my stuffed animals that my grandfather gave me over 40 years ago. So I wanted him to have them. So I took a picture of them. I have the pictures, and he has the animals. So I was able to rehome them, but I still have the pictures for me to look at if I ever want to see those, since they were things that my grandfather, and my grandmother gave me. Now, step five is you're going to start asking yourself if it sparks joy. Now, with every item, you must hold it in. It talks about holding it in your hand and asking, do I get a positive feeling and a joyful feeling? Now, if it sparks joy, you keep it and find it a home. If it doesn't spark joy, then you discard it, donate it, or sell it. So, like I was saying earlier, um, for example, I don't have anything here, for example, but okay, again, my polos. There's something that I really it sparks joy in me because I love it. It's got my last name on it. I love to wear it. It makes me feel good. I think I look nice in them. So for me, it sparks joy. So what I would do is find a place in my house where I can either hang it up somewhere or I can fold it up neatly and put it in a shelf somewhere. So, but by the same token, if I say, well, this doesn't really bring me joy, this doesn't really bring me happiness, this doesn't make me feel positive or joyful or make me feel good about myself. So I would then, with this shirt, take it and give it away, donate it, see if my mom wants it, see if my brother wants it, you know, um, or something like that. So this can be a really hard step, but it also can be a really freeing step because you're letting things go. You're giving them new life somewhere else, whether you're donating them, discarding them, or selling them. They're going to have new life somewhere else. Now, this is the last step in this method. Now, we're going to discard first, then we're going to organize. And what that means is that first, you're going to decide on everything that you want to keep. So what I would suggest is that you have um, two or three maybe totes. You label one keep, one donate, one sell, and one discard. So four totes, sorry. And what you're going to do is I would put, okay, what you're going to keep in the keep one, what you're going to donate, the donate, what you're going to sell in the sell, what you're going to throw away in that one. Now, okay, so we have that. So the three that you're selling, discarding, or donating, you put this side. Put them outside, put them in your car, just go ahead and get rid of them, get them out of sight. And the ones that you're going to keep, you're going to find a permanent place for those. Now, remember, we're doing this by category, so it's going to be really easy. For example, the books that you have brought from all over the house and all over the places that you have, you're going to bring them in maybe into your study, your library, your office, wherever your books are. The ones that and you're going to go through all your books. And again, the ones that bring you joy, that you love to read, that you enjoy reading, that you might read again, you're going to put in the keep. The ones you don't feel, you're either going to put in the other three. So with that, it's going to be really easy and really step by step. But if we have another method to go through, but in this method, if you have any questions, concerns, or thoughts, please put them in the comments and I'll get back to you. I'm so sorry, I apologize. So now let's go to the next method. The next method is the Swedish death cleaning method. This one, I I think I talked about it in our other video, but this one is, I think I like this one, but I also like the other one. But at the end, I'm gonna give you my conclusion and my thoughts. So, what this method is this is the philosophy of decluttering and organizing that is normally done when someone gets older. But it doesn't have to be. It can be done at all ages. But this is usually done when somebody is getting towards the end of life. They may be in their 70s or 80s before they do this. And it's normally done, but that doesn't mean it has to be done. It can be done in your 20s, your 30s. I'm 46, so I can do it now. It doesn't have to be. It's just when you feel comfortable to do it, but it's normally done later in life. Now, what this does is it reduces the burden of your loved ones. So, for example, again, your loved one passes away, the family may is going to have the burden of going through the lifetime of possessions. And sadly, it's done usually during the grieving process. Um, but if you're able to use this method, you can make it simple. You can make your home, feel great while you're still alive and you're not going to pass on the burden. And like I explained yesterday, when my grandmother passed away in 2016, um, while my mom helped me a lot, it did come to me to go through a lot of the different things. And it was tough because, it was my grandparents' things, it was my grandparents' stuff. And, while it was hard, it was kind of healing too. So I think that you have to maybe do it to heal. But I suggest that, this method be done, and maybe you talk to your your parents or your grandparents or whoever it may be and say, let's start, kind of declutter. Let's start giving stuff away. Let's start getting cleaned up. I mean, there's nothing that, and then you'll tell it makes them feel better. Now, so Margarita, um, I'm gonna butcher this name, Megasoni. Now, she's the author of The Gentle Art. I'm sorry, she's the author of the book, The Gentle Art of the Swedish Death Cleansing. Now, it basically is how to free yourself and your family from a long time of clutter. That is the subtitle. So again, the title is the Gentle Art of the Swedish Death Cleaning, with the subtitle of How to Free Yourself and Your Family from a Lifetime of Clutter. So she's the one who invented and has authored the book on this method. Again, I've not read the book. I've not really read anything from her, but I would say that it would probably be great if you want to pick it up, maybe look through it, see if you can find it, maybe a PDF online or something. Now, here's the principles. And these are a little interesting. So step one of the principles is mindful and consideration. So you want to be mindful and considerate. Now, this step is not for personal gain, but it's for the people who are going to be left behind. This is a thoughtful way to prepare for end of life without clutter. Maybe, and I say this, maybe, for example, maybe you find out a loved one is has terminal cancer. They're not going to make it, but they're still physical. They're still in the early stages, but the end is going to be death. Well, in this, you can be mindful and considerate. Like maybe that person would start to go through their stuff. They would start to look at the things around them and consider things to either give, discard, throw away, or keep, and then organize that and how they want to do. But again, this would be up to that person. But if this is, again, if you're not dying or if you're not terminally ill, and even if you're younger in life, like myself, for example, I can still be mindful and considerate of looking ahead of, well, what's going to make me feel a life without clutter? Do I really need to keep this? Do I need to let it go? Um, but I think this it's good to reflect on yourself, to be mindful and considerate of yourself, not just your loved ones. But this could say, well, is this going to still clutter my house? Is this I'm considering, what I want my house to look like and feel like. Is this going to be okay? The next one is the gradual process. Now, unlike others, this is usually an all at once method. You do everything at once. Now, this method is more of a um, so this method is going it's not going to be like the all at once methods. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So this method is going to be calm, meticulous, and gradual. Now, this could take months, years, days, weeks. And by this, what you're doing is you're going through slowly. You're going through everything slowly. Maybe you're doing it on the weekends. This is a method that you're going to do on the weekends on a Saturday. You say, okay, well, I did my bedroom last week. Okay, so I got that done. I did my clothes. Now I'm going to go back to my bedroom and I'm going to do my shoes. So it's things like that. You're going to go very slow. You're going to be methodical. You're going to be calm. You're going to do this gradually so you don't get the stress of doing it all at once. This is something that I have done, and actually I'm doing now. Is as I've stated in the last video, is that I'm going to be moving. So I am doing the gradual process of if I see something, I don't want it, I get rid of it. Or if I see something that I'm packing, keep it, put it into a tote and we'll take it with me gradually. And I've been doing this probably over the last year. And I'll be moving the first of next year, hopefully. Now, this one is also something that I think is really good. We're going to start with the least sentimental items. And we just talked about in this other method, right? You're going to start the easiest to work to the hardest. This one is you're going to start with the least sentimental to the more sentimental. You're going to start with things that you know that you want to part with, like for instance, clothing. But again, as we talked, clothing can be sentimental. So, don't push yourself. Use the gradual, use it as you can. Books and papers, again, could be difficult for you. But these are just, ideas. So whatever for you is hard, that's where you would start. For me, it would be the sentimental things would be the hardest. So I'll leave that for the very last. I would do clothes, books, paper, and miscellaneous is how I would do it, how it's listed. But again, that's something for you to look at. This is not supposed to be an overwhelming process. This is supposed to be a process that is calming, it's fruitful, it's gonna make you feel um, the things and feel a way that you really want to feel. Now, the secret box are the sentimental items. Now, this is going to be for personal items, such as maybe your grandmother's earrings, your grandfather's pocket watch, or his pocket knife, or your son's, baby shoes that you want to keep, but you don't want to look at all the time. Now, you private letters pictures. You can have a box. We don't have a box, but you can have a box, pretty big box or whatever, and you will put those things in that box. That's where they will stay. That's where they're going to stay. And I will be doing this with some of my grandmother's jewelry that I have, her necklaces and her pearls that I have. Um, and I will also be doing it with my grandfather. They'll all go in the same box, but my grandfather's, pocket watch and his pocket knife. I think it's a pocket watch. It may just be his pocket knife, but these things are going to be sentimental. And I may get a bigger box where I can put things that they've given me over the years that I want to keep, but I don't want to see them every day. I want to be able to open them and look at them and just have that really, really joyful time of just remembering and having those memories flood by. That's what the secret box is. And only you would know what's in that box. Now, this is something that I think is really important, and I've done this, is gifting items while you're alive. Now, these could be something like heirlooms or things that you want a certain person to have. You can just give them to them now so they can enjoy it. For example, my cousin Amy, who was one of my grandmother's favorite grandnieces, she got a lot of this. I gave her the china cabinet. I gave her my grandfather's desk, because I knew that she would take care of it. I knew that she loved it and she cherished it and she wanted it, so I gave her a number of other different things. So they're still in the family. So if I ever want to see it, I just go to her house and just see it and can remember what my grandmother or my grandfather had in them. And, it's something that I wanted to pass on. Um, it was hard. I have pictures of them, so I don't really miss them, but sometimes it's good to pass it on. I think this is somebody can use them while they're still alive. So, for example, maybe your grandmother has a set of china that you love. And before she passes, she goes, "Okay, well, I want you to have these. I want you to enjoy this now." And then you're able to have that for Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving or a special occasion, or maybe there is a car that your grandfather wants to give you, before, or your father wants to give you, or whoever it may be wants to give you before they pass on, so you can enjoy it now. Maybe it's that they say, you know what, I this house is too big for me. It was going to go to you um when I pass, but I've decided to give it to you now, and I'm going to move into a smaller apartment or something. So whatever it might be, it's you're just gifting it. While you're still alive, or while the person's still alive, to see that the other person is getting the enjoyment out of it. Now, we're going to focus um, on the reducing and the curating. Sorry. Now, this is a method is about keeping what adds value to your life. So it's kind of like the spark. These are more, these are probably the more meaningful things. These are items that tell a true story of your life. Um, okay, so if I'm doing it for myself, I would have probably my crosses to give. I would give them out to family because that's, because my Christianity and my faith is, the true story of my life. So I would do that. I might give them a Bible. I would probably do something like that. But this could be anything. You're reducing. You just want to reduce that. Now, and these people are going to be able to enjoy them while you're still alive. Or, again, if you're in your 40s, they can enjoy it right. You're just gifting them. So that's step number six. Now, as we look, I want to thank you. We come back here. So in my closing and in my thoughts, I would use both of these methods. I think they're both great. What I would do is combine them and use them as a combination because I think they're both are great. I think they both can bring you joy. I think they both can help you to go slow, go at your pace. So I would use both of these methods. And if you want me to do a video on how I would do that and combine them, please let me know. And I will go through that. But again, we did go over those two different methods of decluttering. I hope this brought you a lot of information, and I'm going to have the PDF on the of both of my last two presentations, this one and the last one, on my Patreon. Again, it's going to be free until the first of the year, but that is where you're going to find the PDFs. So please feel free to go over there. I will put the link in the description. And I really thank you again for joining me today here at the Jackson Hearth. And I would like to say from my hearth to yours, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.